specifically here and now with UNLV football, but did you see the news about former UNLV Rebel football coach Tony Sanchez?
I did. Offensive analyst with Gary Patterson down at TCU. So move into the Big 12 for Tony Sanchez. You're pretty plugged in when it comes to the comings and goings of UNLV football. And Coach Sanchez, were you surprised to hear about it? You thought it was an interesting move? What do you think?
I didn't know about it. I'm not surprised. I think he's a good offensive mind. I think he's pretty well respected. The Rebel run game was consistently in the top 25 up until that last year. And I think we also saw that, there was a drop-off last year. Charles Williams simply was not as productive as he should have been and could be this year. And the offensive line didn't play well. And that's not to get on Marcus Arroyo and the new coaching staff, but, Sanchez did a pretty good job on that front. And he was up for a gig at Boise. He was in the mix at Arizona right after he was fired by UNLV. So, listen, going to TCU, good program, connected to Patterson, that's a good way to revitalize your career. And we've seen plenty of, head coaches who, it didn't work out at their first stop. They get a chance to get a second life at a good program, and maybe things take off. And good luck to Tony Sanchez. And we'll try to get him on in the next couple of weeks and see what's going on with that new gig. But basketball, the big news, last couple of days, they added 2 more players. They had 3 openings. They could still be waiting on Bryce Hamilton and Jong. Those are long shots, but they added a guard, Mike Nuga, out of Kent State, who averaged about 18 points a game. He's a 6th-year senior. He's been everywhere. So now they've got another guard who can score. And then I think they got a good one today. They got a JUCO transfer from, I think he's at Hutchinson, Joshua Baker, who's another guy who can shoot. He's about 6'2". So the roster is filling out, Candy. Things are looking pretty good. We don't know how this is all going to work out from a mix standpoint, but what looked like a bleak situation a couple of weeks ago with 10 guys in the transfer portal, Kruger and company have plucked and picked from schools below them in the pecking order and many above them in Power 5 schools. Looks like a pretty decent roster.
I mean, shrug emoji, right? We don't know. We hope it is. We don't really know. And when it comes down to it, the idea of keeping Kevin Kruger as the head coach from the pool of more than a dozen that Desiree Reed-Francois was looking from was said to be for the purpose of continuity. Well, continuity is going to be tough this year. You hope that this group that he's putting together will potentially stay together a little bit next year. Not everybody's going to be eligible to do that, but you certainly hope that will be the case, because right now you look at who's back, and basically you see Marvin Coleman after not playing for most of last year, and you see Nick Blake, and those are really the 2 key pieces that come back from last year's roster and join this litany of transfers that's coming in, which in some ways is just symptomatic of what college basketball is in 2021-22. And I'm not complaining about that. I love the fact that players have the ability to move, but it is much more difficult to maintain a sense of continuity in that environment.
I'll say this, I don't have any inside information. I would not expect this last spot if they do only have 1 spot left. And keep in mind, if Jong wanted to come back, he'd be a super senior, so he actually wouldn't take up a spot. I don't expect this last spot to be taken up quickly unless it's a certain person. I'm sure they have a couple of targets that they would leave it open for, but what do you think? You think they fill it up quickly?
I don't think there's any purpose to, is there?
No.
Right? What's the point? If you only have 1 spot left, and we see just how dynamic all of this is, right? We've seen more than 1,000 names go through the transfer portal. So you got to wait and hang on and see if someone drops into your lap down the line a little bit. It's April, right? We have plenty of time left before you need to fill that roster out.
Yeah, and this the Baker kid, the JUCO, was being recruited by Rutgers up until last week. Houston was also in on him, Loyola Chicago. So it's a good get. And now they have the UNLV roster. Think about last year. Marvin Coleman goes down. You're like, all right, who's going to play the point? Nick Blake is playing the point. He's a wing player, and he could do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a game, but you can't have him out there for 25 minutes a game playing the point. I look at their players, and I think they've probably got 4 or 5 guys who could be comfortable running the offense. All right, back to the NFL draft. We're going to talk to one of the guys who was actually drafted in the 70s. Oh, old, right? No, but he's got great memories. He's got strong opinions. We love this guy, and I'm sure he's got a lot to say about the quarterbacks. Joe Theismann is up next on Cofield and Company.
Join the conversation on Twitter at ESPN Las Vegas.
This traffic report is brought to you by the Valley Auto Mall.